When people ask me what the best exercise is for any one muscle, I usually tell them to do two exercises. Do two really good exercises and train them really hard. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys about that a little bit. And I'm kind of displaying in this technically three exercises. You'll see them playing in the background from the same workout. You'll see me doing a wide grip pause bench. So again, kind of a bodybuilder type bench, not a powerlifting bench. Yes, I know I'm using 315. You'll see me do pullovers with plates, like a plate pullover, and then you'll see me doing a laying barbell extension for my triceps. So I think this kind of highlights a perfect example of what I mean. Now, do I think that a lot of times for a lot of people, can a muscle get pretty big and pretty well developed off of one exercise if you train it really hard and it's a good movement? I think the answer to that is yes. But in this context, people are asking, hey, what's the best way to get the most possible gains? And I do think that is to combine a couple different movements. And in this case, because arms are weak link for me, right? Biceps and triceps tend to be my worst possible muscle groups for me personally. So I tend to do a little bit of extra work for them, which is what you kind of see happening here. So let's talk a little bit about these exercises. And this is a perfect example of what I mean. And I've given different examples over time of working a muscle from two different angles, right? On exercises that hit it in a different way. So if we pull the extensions out and we look at just the bench press and the pullover, okay, what do they work? Well, the pullover works a lot of muscles, but what we're concerned with is its effect on the pecs and the triceps, because that's what I'm talking about here. So bench press, of course, works the pec. It works the entire chest. It puts the chest into a lengthened position. It performed correctly, so the way you see me doing it, bodybuilder style, right? It is a full chest exercise. Works the entire chest. It puts the pecs into a lengthened or a stretched position at the bottom, which is by most accounts ideal for overall hypertrophy, right? That's a very, very good exercise. Again, the people who complain about not building their chest on a bench simply don't know how to perform the lift correctly. Up to and including professional bodybuilders, you see them try to perform it and you realize why they don't like it. Yeah, you don't know how to do it. But it works the whole chest, okay? When you look at what it does with the tricep, it works the lateral head of the tricep the most, right? Works the medial lateral heads. The long head gets a little bit neglected. Now, does that mean the long head won't grow at all? Of course not. Of course it'll grow. Okay? Anything that works a muscle is going to tend to grow the entire muscle, but it's going to be potentially disproportionate in different heads, things like the origins and insertions, right? It may not give full development through a muscle. And oftentimes that's the case, and we accept that. So that's what the bench press does for those. So it leaves the long head a little bit lagging, works the entire chest. So then we take the pullover. So you would look at the pullover and say, well, what does it do? Well, it works the chest from a completely different angle. Okay, works the chest from a completely different angle. Although it is still very much a stretch position exercise because most of the chest involvement's at the bottom in the stretch. Okay. But are we getting a second chest exercise? Yes, absolutely. And it is a pretty good chest exercise, right? Does a lot of other things though for your shoulders, for your lats. So you have all that happening, but here's one of the other big winners when it comes to these two muscles we're discussing. It works the opposite way on the tricep. In other words, when you look at the tricep, the long head gets worked the least on the bench because we don't have that stretch. Anything that stretches us towards the overhead position works the long head more. Extensions have been studied. They've been found to actually grow it more in the lab. Okay, do you see where we're going with this? Combined together, do all three heads of the tricep get worked effectively? Yes. So this is a good combination. Am I saying for people with lagging triceps this is going to be enough? Probably not. Hence why you see me doing a third exercise. But I digress. This works. It works all of it. We're working the chest from two different angles with a really big movement that works the entire chest. And anyone who thinks the bench doesn't work the entire chest is clearly not looked at the biomechanics. They've not looked at any data. It works the entire chest top to bottom. It just doesn't disproportionately work the top part as much as some other exercises, which is what some people are trying to achieve. But good chest exercise, great chest exercise. Okay, so we're getting that, and then we have a complementary of two exercises that work. Between the two of them do fully work all three heads of the tricep. All right, this is how we should be looking at combining movements. Now, if you're trying to go a bit further and you need more arm, someone like me, then I'm adding something in like the laying extension. But notice what we're doing. This exercise, because of the way I perform it, works all three heads. It's a very balanced exercise. Right? The normal extension part works the lateral and medial heads very effectively because what we have a full bend of the elbow, right? Extension of the elbow is the role of those two heads. We have those going through a full range of motion under tension. Okay? See that? And notice that we put that long head into the lengthened position at the bottom because of the way I'm stretching it behind the head. All right. This is very effectively working all three heads of the tricep. So then we've doubled down. In this case, we now have 3 tricep exercises. That's a lot. That's a lot. Right? For a relatively non-complex muscle, we're in a good place there. So add all 3 together and we really have something. Now, if a person really had great chest development and they only cared about adding more tricep, we could possibly take the pullovers out and just do the extension. If a person really just needed to hammer their chest super hard, they could push these pullovers really hard after the benching and make that a priority and not bother with extensions. They'll be in a good place depending upon what they're doing. Okay, but the idea here is efficiency, right? Saying how much training do we need to do to maximize these things? What do we need to do to include it so that we're not trying to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym doing something that we could do in half the time? And I think that's kind of the point with a lot of this, of being a little picky with your exercise selection instead of just doing random things. It's kind of coming in, targeting and saying, okay, pick these really big movements and get the job done, and then other stuff to fill in the gaps as we need it. And I think for most people that is the best approach, right? It's going to be way more efficient. You're going to gain muscle more effectively. You're going to get stronger faster. You can get out of the gym quicker. The difference is it is hard, right? It is harder. It's a lot easier to come in and do isolation work on a machine than it is to, move big weights around. But, the question becomes, are we trying to get this done effectively and efficiently? And I think this works. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.